Hi, everybody. It's Kelly Russell, the Rock Your Joy coach. And I'm here to talk to you today about your holiness. So, we think that holiness has to do with the divine, with God, with angels, with Jesus. We don't think of ourselves as holy. That's just not something that we identify with. It's always been, maybe in your religion of origin growing up, or, when we're in church, or we associate it with the Bible or other, spiritual traditions. But it's not something that we really, when you think of yourself and you think of what am I and who am I, does any of us really think of ourselves as holy? And yet, and unfortunately, and I know this just from being a therapist for so many years and a coach, and really helping people get to the underlying beliefs of why they're not having the life that they want to have, or why they have relational conflict, or they have issues with success or abundance, or why their lives don't feel like they're working out. So many people tell me it's because they don't feel like they're worthy, or they don't feel like they're good enough, or even if they're not conscious of that, that's what comes out of the underlying beliefs that we unearth. And that, I think that that's so universal among people, is thinking that there's some reason why there's something wrong with us, that we're somehow defective, or that we don't measure up, or we didn't get the memo. We there's something that we're missing. We don't really understand, and so we don't see ourselves in this, and in this light of just being fantastic and so lovable and so amazing and so wonderful. And so we depend on other people and circumstances in the life to reflect that to us, to tell us who we are and to tell us what we are. And so we wind up needy in relationships, and seeking out this validation and external affirmation to reassure us that we're okay, or that we're good enough, or that we're worthy. And the truth is, every single one of us is worthy because we fucking are. We're worthy and we're good enough. We're more than good enough. We are, it's almost indefinable, because we are. Because we are part of the divine. And yet we grow up and we're told by all these different aspects of experience in the world that, oh, that's conceited. Oh, that's vain. Oh, that's arrogant. Oh, thinking highly of yourself. Oh, well, aren't you just too big for your britches? And somebody needs to take him down a peg. And, well, I guess you're just pretty full of yourself, aren't you? It's like we're discouraged truly from seeing how amazing and how spectacular and how fabulous and fantastic and awesome and just fucking great that we are. And that all comes not from what we do in the world, not from our acts of service, not from how smart we are, how educated, not how successful we are at our careers, not from how popular we are, how many friends we are, how many likes we have, how many views we get, not from anything except what is already inherent within us, which is our holiness. So we don't have to do anything. We don't have to be anything else than what we already are. We just have to do who we are. you know? And what gets in the way of that is these underlying beliefs of what we are not. And we buy into them, we internalize them. They become part of our identity, part of our story. And whether it's the story that we're telling, kind of leading with about who we are and why we're not this and why we're not that and why we're not good enough, or whether it's the story that is just internally narrating itself to us silently and we're responding to all the time. And it's our vibration, it's how we shine what we know to be true about ourselves, how we broadcast, and whatever that is what is going to be reflected back to us in the experience of the world, in our love relationships, in our impact on other people, in the way that they respond and react to us, in our financial success, in the health of our bodies, and in just what we see going on in the world around us. And so I want to talk about lesson 58 today, which is a review lesson. It's a review of 5 lessons. And so these ideas are the ones for review. So lesson 36, my holiness envelops everything I see. And the first line of it is, from my holiness does the perception of the real world come. So I see in the world, my perception, whatever I am perceiving about the world, comes from my holiness. So when I know my holiness as an extension and a son of God, as just a beam of light, God is the sun, I'm the ray, then I can understand and see my holiness, and then that's reflected in the world that I see. And the second line is, having forgiven, I no longer see myself as guilty. And so practicing that version of forgiveness that the Course in Miracles so beautifully gives us. I'm forgiving anything I see because I remember there's nothing to forgive, because I remember I'm dreaming this illusion of this world. And as I forgive my body's eyes, as I forgive what the meaning is that I'm making of it, and I just released it to spirit, I ask to see it differently, and I'm shown a completely different world. So forgiving everything that appears to be anything other than what you would love to have it be. That's really the litmus test for forgiveness. Anything that you don't like of what you're seeing, forgive it, and your perception will change and you will see a different world. Lesson 37, my holiness blesses the world. The perception of my holiness does not bless me alone. Everyone and everything I see in its light shares in the joy it brings to me. So there's nothing apart from my joy. There's nothing apart from me. My holiness, it literally encompasses the world and everyone and everything that I see. It's like the light that you're emitting from the light that is within you, that is the light of God. The light, your circle of light, is infinite and endless, and everything is included within it. And so when you can see everything in that holy light, you see yourself in that light, you see everyone else in that light, and everything and everyone is beautiful. And that is how you change your perception of everyone and everything. Lesson 38, there's nothing my holiness cannot do. Nothing. My holiness is unlimited in its power to heal, because it is unlimited in its power to save. And what is there to be saved from except illusions, right? We haven't done anything wrong that there is for us to be saved from. We don't have to be saved from, like some sort of original sin or something. All we need to be to save ourselves from is the illusion that we are guilty. That's what this underlying belief is that we have, that creates this idea within us that we are somehow unworthy and not good enough, that there's something wrong or defective about us, is just believing that we have, that we're guilty, that we're guilty of separating from God. It never happened. It's just a mass hallucination. It was just a tiny mad idea that is bullshit that we bought into. And as we unwind our belief in that idea, as we extricate ourselves from that thought system, and we remember the truth of who we are, we remember our holiness, then that guilt dissolves, and we can actually see ourselves and the world as innocent and as the holiness that we really are. And lesson 39, my holiness is my salvation. Since my holiness saves me from all guilt, recognizing my holiness is recognizing my salvation. It's also recognizing the salvation of the world. Once I have accepted my holiness, nothing can make me afraid. And really, isn't that the thing that we are all working to try and get away from in this world? Our efforts are all about trying to save ourselves from being afraid, trying to ensure that we won't be afraid. If we feel afraid, trying to get to a place where we're not afraid, to erect all kinds of protection and reassurance, and be in circumstances and in all kinds of, we make all kinds of efforts, in huge efforts, just to keep ourselves from being afraid, instead of recognizing that our holiness truly keeps us from being afraid. There's nothing to fear when you understand your holiness. You understand the truth of who you are. You understand the perfection of your being, and that nothing, truly nothing, can harm you. And lesson 40, I am blessed as a son of God. Herein lies my claim to all good and only good. I am blessed as a son of God. All good things are mine because God intended them for me. I cannot suffer any loss or deprivation or pain because of who I am. And here we come again, full circle to who you are. There's nothing to fear. There's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to feel guilty about. There's nothing to feel unworthy for. There's nothing to feel like you're not good enough about. There's only your holiness. That's who you are. And all good things come to you, and all good things are deserved by you, and all good things are inherently yours and you're worthy of, because you fucking are. Because you're holy. That's what it is. So that's my message for the week. Just remember your holiness. Remember everyone else's holiness. If something is disturbing your peace, forgive the shit out of it. Remember that everything is here for your good, that God is in everything. And remember how much I love you. And if you need help in remembering your holiness, that if this seems foreign to you, or you really struggle with it, or you're not really rocking your joy, or you're finding that you want to be able to be who you came here to be, and do what you came here to do, and live your passion, and give your gifts to the world, and be on purpose, and you're not really sure how to do that, consider coaching with me. And I offer a free discovery call, which is a coaching session for you to check out how I work and learn about my programs. And if you want to rock your joy and live a miraculous life, this is something that can really help you do that. So I invite you to click one of the links below, is a discovery call, along with some other goodies there, and sign up for one with me. I love you. I'll see you next week.